In this part two, we would now touch upon some of the areas that are covered for students in business and architecture, where they could take part in our programs in different parts of the world. We also touching on some of the countries where these programs have already been done, as well as some of the future programs. Especially, we cover our programs in Europe, and we listed some of the countries here in Tanzania, Zambia, Kenya, Jamaica, New Zealand, India, USA, Mexico, Peru, Brazil. Now, if you look at some of the areas that are covered, we talk about entrepreneurship and internship, social innovation and entrepreneurship, business process, product design and product launch, education and self-learning. As for architecture students, it's landscape and sustainable farming, permaculture, land capability, eco-restoration, architecture and urban planning, community development, research and statistics, and economic activities. Now, we have done programs in the following countries, and especially in Africa, we've done in Zambia, Tanzania, Ghana, and Kenya. In fact, in February, we're going to have students coming from India to do the program in Kenya, and then they will be coming over to Tunisia, where they will be interacting, and we'll also be conducting a workshop at your institute. We've also done programs in Caribbean, in Jamaica and South America. In May, we are planning to do a program in Peru and Brazil, and we have programs in New Zealand, most definitely in Europe, Mexico, and India. Well, one of the most important programs for business, which is part of our annual academic calendar, is the internship and entrepreneurship experience, where they literally get to experience a global setting, and in fact, students get to work in some of the companies in Europe. They're able to interact with the founders of some of the companies. Now, the program essentially also covers, besides the fact that they get a truly international experience, we also conduct workshops. In these workshops, we introduce new practices regarding ideation and concept building designs. The students also go through an inventory process where they're made to think free and think while building and think global. There's also a transition workshop where we undertake, students are able to better manage the emotional changes that happen, especially when students are trying to become independent or to things that are unknown to in the real world. There is always the interactive sessions where students get to talk with the companies and the founders and startups. And finally, obviously, besides the internship that they get to be part of, working in companies, we also take them on some of the factory visits to Mercedes, Vodafone, Audi, etc. Now, for some of the benefits to the students, especially they get the global internship experience. There is a collaboration and interaction with students from different countries. Opportunity to participate in joint collaborative projects that are partnership between European universities and European companies. Working with startups or small and medium businesses, and opportunity to become outpost for some of these companies when they come back to the country, where students are even given the opportunity to take on stakeholder options. We did a program on architecture. Essentially, the idea here was to come up with a design for an emergency shelter. This was in collaboration with our partners, Demola, where we had students from India and Europe, in fact, students from the architecture, product design, and the electrical engineering. And they came up with an initial prototype, which now we will be working on further. Essentially, the idea here is to create a design for a shelter which is on the fly and which can be set up within minutes. Now, we did a program in Tanzania. Now, this was a challenge where students were given a challenge. Okay, they had 30 days where they had to come up with a design. They did not know anything. They did not know the place. They did not. This was virtually a place where there was no water, no electricity, and the only thing that was available was sand. That's all. And they had to come up and build the structure. For 15 days, the students we did not even have the land. We could not even procure the land. So you can understand that what is the tension that is going through. On the 16th day, we finally got the land. The students had to come up with a design. They did all their clearing. They managed to get the site cleared up. They got the designs approved by the municipality. To believe it or not, on the 30th day, they literally completed the whole structure. The total expense of the project was $4,700, and out of which the maximum expense actually went to get water, which they had to get from get a donkey, travel about 2 kilometers and get the water. But that's the kind of challenge, and this finally was launched, and this was handed over to Widow. In Zambia, we did a project. There were multiple projects. This is both for architecture and for the business students. This was a multi-use community project as part of an effort to transform a community that had no resources. There was no rains. The 99% of the community was illiterate. They did not have any skills. And how would you transform this community to become self-sustaining? So literally the students came up with an idea that okay, they can come up with an eco toilet which has a dual purpose. In 6 months time, basically the eco toilet can create manure, because and the manure, it literally the nutrients that can yield can help the soil become more nutrient, and they can grow things out there. And then we also took some of the villagers to the University of Zambia, taught them how to make interlocking bricks, donated interlocking brick making machine. And then literally the students, the community had two things that they could do at a place where there was nothing that is available here. So now the men could come up with interlocking bricks, and the women would actually try to increase the nutrient of the soil using this concept. Now, of course, for the business students, we also had project in Chipata and Livingston. One was on a biogas generation and eco toilet for a museum. In Kenya, this is a project that the Indian students are actually traveling, and which will be offered to you. We will definitely be talking about what it is. This is in Masai Mara, where the place essentially there's a school that is over 100 years old. It is in a dilapidated condition, but now the school happens to be on the main road where all the tourist traffic goes to the Immersion National Park. Now that's a big opportunity. Now, how can you transform this community and become self-sustaining? So what we decided is that architect students will come up with a design to create something that can have a dual purpose. We're trying to get a shipping container and convert that into a restaurant and a tourism information center, which will have a dual purpose, which can also cater to the students of the school where the whole thing is going to be set up, because that's facing the main road of the highway. And it will be used as a lunchroom for the students and also as an IT center, because for the tourists who are traveling, they could actually get onto the computers for the IT services if they need, and also for a break. And for the students, they could also use the laptop or the tablets that they have as part of their IT learning. Now, for the business students, they have to do the research on understanding what is the traffic flow, how exactly can they run this as a kind of business opportunity, and combine that together with the architect students, and then submit the proposal so that then the community can start to implement the whole process. We did a program in Jamaica. This was, again, the designing of a school library and reading room using used shipping container. This is a design that was submitted. We also had the business students introduce the program where they actually played the role of facilitators and collaborating the connection between the students and developing an app that literally catered to the economic activity of the region, which is on tourism. And of course, there is also a program for the management students, which is coming up the Heritage Trail in Montego Bay. We do have a program in Barbados, which is to be modeled on a Baker Center program for providing skills to high-risk youth. We have a program in New Zealand, which is again on permaculture and land capability for business and architect students. This is actually an interdisciplinary practice focusing on sustainable food production, energy efficient building, recycling, land stewardship, etc. This is an excellent program where permaculture, in fact, is a big business as part of understanding how they can build on business opportunity. And also for the architect students, we're talking about understanding the Maori culture and coming up with a traditional garden based on archaeological sites and sacred burial grounds.